What was the journey? What was the search? It was an embattled group. All the weapons of the Renaissance tradition totally discarded. It was a mission to make painting in America the equal to painting elsewhere. It was not exactly a heroic journey. In fact, it was filled with desperation, depression. In the history of all art, there was never a movement as hated as abstract expressionism. History is real, and each generation has some task to perform. And part of the quest is to find what that task is.
The task was to make American art equal to the art of Europe, and a group of obscure painters in New York City took it on. They tapped into a source of raw emotional energy. Attacked and ridiculed, they fought back, challenging every established art form. And when the battle was over, American painting had become the dominant force in international art. This is the story of that struggle, and of one painter who gave it a voice. Robert Motherwell arrived in New York as a graduate student in 1940, uncertain of his future with almost no formal training in art. He still remembers that time in terms of an epic battle.
Troy was the establishment, and from that standpoint, the abstract expressionists were the Greeks laying siege to the citadel, as in turn now our citadel is being laid siege to by younger artists. Though I think our citadel is yet to fall.
Motherwell's allies in the siege were painters such as William Basiotis, Arshil Gorky, Hans Hofmann, Franz Klein, Willem de Kooning, Barnett Newman, Jackson Pollock, Mark Rothko, and the sculptor David Smith.
The role of Motherwell was certainly unique at that time, and I think he gave to the group a kind of historical consciousness. He helped Americans get the idea that not only could a great art be created here, because you have to believe it's possible before you can make it, so to say, but that their works would be published, they would be in books, they would be read about, the critics would engage with them.
I will often start a picture with automatic drawing, with marks, and then already the ice is broken. The instant you make 2 marks, then they cry out for a third. And then when you have a triad, it may cry out for 4 more. But each element that you already have changes as you add to it. One can have a really superb work, 9/10 completed, and then one does one little element, and the whole thing suddenly is off again. Here, wipe these 2 dots off for me. I paint a lot by correction. or by afterthoughts, by editing. And this one here. The process of painting is constantly a self-criticism. Is this the truth or not? That one there. Truth is beauty, and beauty is truth. And I've made pictures that are failures, but I think I've made very few that are lies.
This one is close to the line.
Yeah. And if they have any beauty, it's the implacability of insisting that each mark, each area, the rhythm, the somberness, or the joy, or whatever, is authentic. Now that's good.
Fine. Okay.
The notion of truth and authenticity is something that was shared by all of the abstract expressionists. And in fact, it goes back farther than that. One could say that it's at the root of modernist painting.
It's a little too far. No. It's really an amazing picture. One of the difficulties in the 40s was that the nature of abstraction wasn't really very clearly understood, even by many of the artists who got their sense of abstraction from looking at abstract pictures, but didn't understand the principle. It's got something, and yet it's off. The word abstraction comes from the Latin, meaning to take from. This I got from Alfred North Whitehead at Harvard. And the function of abstraction is what he calls emphasis, to throw the thrust of the work onto its meaning. I think I was too uptight when I painted the black shade. You see, what was marvelous about understanding it this way is then you instantly understood that the function of abstraction is to get rid of a lot of reality. You start with as much richness as you want and subtract. And then you arrive at the residue of essences that you're interested in. And that perception did for me what the discovery of perspective did for the Quattrocento painters. It became an organizing principle. This Matisse head is a beautiful example of a high degree of abstraction, but still clearly visible as a realistic image. Actually, it's made out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 lines. And yet it's the presence of femininity, it's a head, it's everything.